Um, Hello, I'm John Lee, and I'm here today with Miss Amber Gray. And thank you for meeting with me today, Amber. Amber is a very valuable member of our STL community here in town and a brilliant real estate investor. And I guess, who are you, Amber, and what type of real estate investor are you?
Yeah, good morning to you as well. So thank you for having me. So as John mentioned, my name is Amber Gray. I am a local real estate investor. And when I say local, all of my units are in Missouri. I have one duplex in Kansas City and then multiple other duplexes and a single family in St. Louis. And so who am I? I'm just a local investor. So I got into the business actually through my family, as it would have it. My family had owned homes for years, so I grew up understanding the business. But I can say, with the help of social media, which is the truth, I curve my business and I try and maximize my profits a little bit different than my parents would or would have, because currently they don't have any properties anymore. But I try and maximize as much of my cash flow as possible. But yeah, that is who I am. I am a local real estate investor in Missouri who is up and coming. I have several properties and just trying to grow my business, trying to be a billionaire like John.
Well, why do you continue to do this? Because I believe you have a what they call maybe a regular job in
Yep.
addition, and your family. I see the background. Why how you got it to. That's great. I tell you, I didn't have that. My father was a business owner, but not in real estate. I got them in real estate. So you kind of have the shoe on the other foot, so to say. So why do you continue to do this? Obviously, there's a motive you have that for me.
Yeah, for me, it is the independence. I'll say it that way. There is a new wave of people trying to do the FIRE movement, which is financially independent, retiring early. So that is my goal, to retire early. I don't know my number yet, but the real reason I got into real estate was because I never wanted to have my 9 to 5. Be my sole source of income. And so I wanted to diversify. So for me, just a little bit more of my background, I have a 6-year-old, she'll be 7 next month. But I always wanted to be that in the moment mom, always be there for her. And so for real estate, this was my way to diversify myself, to have a second job, if you will, still make income, but still go to her soccer games, still go to be PTO. I am on her on the PTO at her school. I am on the board at STLREIA. John will tell you, I bring my daughter with me. These are the ways that I can still be an active parent, but still have money coming in on the side. So that's really what kind of drove me into real estate. I didn't want to have a second 9 to 5, if you will. I didn't want to have another job where I had to go and I had to be away from her. So why do I continue to do it? I've had great results of my cash flow that I bring in on my properties, and my daughter's learning from this situation as well. But the real reason I do it is because I can still have if anything falls out from my 9 to 5 job, I can still maintain my household and I still have money to support myself and my daughter. That's the real reason I did it.
That's so very important what you just said right there. It besides taking care of your family, it also gives you the lifestyle you want.
Hmm.
And we all have a different number. Retirement, I used to have different ideas of when and how much and all that. Now I think it's more of doing what I really want to do, kind of like
Hmm.
yourself, what you're saying, because yeah, we do have life. Life does go on for all of us. It is Saturday for all of us. It is Sunday for all of us. It is
Yeah.
a holiday for all of us. So, and our kids, especially at your children's age, your daughter's age, you want to be there for her. You don't want to miss those important things. And so I know a lot of people miss that kind of stuff because they don't have the foresight and the knowledge that you have and the ability to do this. So that's I think that's very important. And thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. I think everybody needs to pay attention to that.
Hmm.
Well, as far as the deals you do now, what do you think the best real estate deal you ever did would be, Amber?
I would say the best deal. Um, Okay, so truthfully, because I let me think about that. I think the best deal that I have done is my current where I live now. So back to my daughter. I was living in a single family home, and then I found out about house hacking. And so at the time, again, I'm putting myself in the mind frame of how do I bring in extra income but not be away from her as much as possible. And so house hacking, fast forward to house hacking, basically that is you buy a duplex or a multifamily, you live in one and you rent out the others. And so I started with that. And to me, that was the best deal because now fast forward to, I got that deal at the very beginning of the pandemic. I didn't know the pandemic was happening. So I closed in it was either December or January, and we moved around that time frame. And then of course everything shut down not too far after that. But that was the best deal. Right now for me, I've never missed a rental payment. I now do Airbnbs on that unit. Actually, for the majority of my money that comes out of that unit, I do traveling nurses out of that. So for me personally, that was the best deal because not only, again, back to my daughter, not only are we living mortgage free, quote unquote, because my other tenants are paying the mortgage for me. My single family now, I rent that out. That's also making a cash flow, and I'm making money off of that. So for me, moving from my single family to the duplex was the best deal for me.
That's a great story right there because a lot of people I think miss that. As far as house hacking, it sounds, that sounds like it could be a lot of different things, but I like the way you define it right there because you have very specific goals in what you're doing there. And it takes care of a lot of things. I mean, I know, the cash flow itself will relieve a lot of stress on a lot of people just
Mm-hmm.
if you have things covered. And then mortgage is so important. We all have to have a place to live and to make a business out of it, because I know there's, without getting too deep, there's a lot of other advantages, tax advantages and things like
Mm-hmm.
that go right along with that. So that's, I think that's very important for people to know that. What do you think maybe the worst real estate deal you ever did was, Amber?
The worst, I would say, so I think the worst deal that I've done, which is not a bad deal that right now, but I purchased off of Craigslist a single family home that is completely gutted in the inside. Now, again, the internet will tell you you can always make money off of this. So right now, my strategy is to hold it, and I think I'll probably end up fixing and flipping it. But I paid cash for that property. It wasn't too much, but for me, when you say what's the worst deal, because I didn't, I would like to flip it as quickly as possible, but I was not ready at the time of when I made that purchase. So to me, that was the worst deal because I'm just sitting on it. I paid money for it. I'm hoping next year or in the year afterwards, I will have a plan, and because you always want to go in with your exit plan. So
Mhm.
that to me was why that one's the worst deal. I didn't have an exact exit plan for this one. So that would be my
That's a good point right there, Amber, an exit plan, because I didn't always do that either. And now I look at something when I'm buying it, what is going to be the ultimate goal, what is the exit plan with this? And what I've developed since then, which a lot of trial and error. I mean, I wouldn't say I even have a worse deal because they're all learning. If you ask me,
exactly.
their education is so important. But now what I'll look at is, what's the best thing that could happen, what's the worst thing that could happen, what's the most likely thing that could happen,
Yep.
and we'll go for the best. It doesn't always work that way, but then again, it's like everything, like setting the goals. We were talking about that the other day. You set your goals up here, and then you have to adjust and continue along the way because
Hmm.
things come up, and life does happen, like we
Yep.
said. So that's
Yep.
great. Thank you for sharing that. That's a good point, and I'm sure that'll turn out well for you, being as knowledgeable as you are, Amber.
Yeah, I mean, even if in this market, even if you just hold it for a small amount of time, I mean, of course, I'm sure just as much as I do, people are now sending me those flyers. Hey, can I buy your house? Hey, can I do this? And, for something that I bought off of Craigslist for cash, I can double it, now if I sold. So I wouldn't say that was to your point, my worst deal,
Mhm.
because every deal is a piece of education. I just paid a little more for this education. So I can make money off of this one, but I know if I hold it and then if I put a little money into it, it'll bring back a lot of money. Just right now, I don't have the time. So, and actually that's how I got that property. The previous owner, she didn't have time to fix and flip it. So she just offloaded it on Craigslist, and her loss is my gain. So
Mhm. Well, yeah, that's a good point right there too. You look for the non-wanters because people all have reasons why they don't want property, and it's
exactly.
not that you're beating them up or anything. Sometimes they just want to get out of it,
Exactly.
because they have life go on just like we do. So,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's what you do is look for the opportunities.
Yep.
So they're very good. Very good point there. Now, if you were to start over today, Amber, is there anything that you would do differently that you maybe like to share with people listening today?
Yeah, for me, if I started over again, it would again go back to the cash flow. Um, so my very first property, um, I guess my very first rental property, I should say, I did a self-directed IRA, which is great, but I was not looking at the numbers to make sure I'm maximizing my cash flow. Right now, that is the most important thing to me. I am making money, but I was not maximizing. So, looking at different websites, looking around the area, how much are other people charging? If I furnish the unit, can I make more money off of it? Those sort of questions I ask myself now. In addition, my very first rental unit, like most people, I actually had to evict my first tenant, and it was hard. But again, I've learned a lot of lessons there. So that to me, going back, I never want to tell people don't jump into it, because I think if you have all the boxes checked, you'll never get into the real estate game. Don't worry about that. Jump into it again, pay for some education. Like I mentioned, my other property that I'm holding, you're going to pay for that education, but sometimes it's worth it in the end. So don't not jump into real estate or investing because you don't know everything. And I have a friend who she has to have this spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet has to be filled out, and she has to know the budget. It's great to know those things, but don't let that prevent you from getting in the game, because there's so much money to be made out here from so many different ways you could do it. There's notes, there's actually being a landlord, there's Airbnbs. There's just so many ways to do it. Figure out what you want to do and get in the game.
And that right there, I'm glad. I think you hit the nail on the head, and I'm glad you said that because there's so many different aspects and different different things you can do and strategies in real estate. People, a lot of new people, um, they'll come in and just say, "I want to be a real estate investor," but they don't really know what. And I mean, the first thing is like you said, get educated. Sometimes and
Mhm.
just pick out one thing. And one of the things that I've learned along the way too is my education does come from the things that don't work. I mean, you can learn
Mhm.
all the theories and all that, but then once you get in the game, don't try to be a perfectionist, just be a progressionist.
Yep.
And I've kind of learned that that sometimes it's okay just to be a failure and not a failure, because if you quit, you're a failure.
Mhm.
And you learn from your things that just don't work. So that's that right there, I think is a golden nugget of information. Yeah.
Yeah, just try, just get in, get your first deal. Or, I mean, we're on the STL board or STLREIA board. Get in a RIA. Understand everybody. There's so many investors out there, or let me say landlords that are out there, and they've never even been in a real estate investment call or a group or anything. Even being in the community, there's just so many tips and tricks you can learn from just being in the room. Just get started.
And wouldn't you say local helps also, because national can teach you a lot of things, but when you're in a local group, you find out little things about areas and what
Yep.
others are doing, what works, what doesn't work, because there's different ordinances and just different things we have to deal with. So that's a great point right there. And I'm a firm believer. I've been a member of the REIA. Well, I don't know how many years now, and as we volunteer for the board now too. Ours
Hmm.
is nonprofit, where a lot of them are for profit, which nothing wrong with profit at all, but
Hmm.
just you got to just look at the motivation of the group, and education. Just see what other people are doing and networking. I think that's really important for people to know.
It's huge. I mean, think about all of the contractors you've met and talked through. One of my next deals that I'm hoping to get involved with, I want to build a multifamily on one of my lots. I know somebody in that room has built a house. I know that I don't have to start from square one. Someone in that room will help me. So I don't have to, I can cut down on my paying for the education that I'm going to get through starting myself. I don't have to create the wheel. Someone in that room can help me. So that is one of the biggest things that I can say. If you heard nothing else, get in the room and get involved. Just jump in.
That right there, I think, is another golden nugget right there, because, you know, a wise person learns from their mistakes, which we're just kind of talking about. But I think a brilliant person learns from the mistakes of the wise man. And by
Yeah.
networking and getting into groups and just seeing what the others are doing, most of the time, they've already had the mistakes, or a lot of them anyway. Of course, you're going to run into new things. But if you can cut that, you know, shorten that curve just a little bit, it can make all the difference in maybe making a gain, or maybe not a gain on a property. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
it's so important. Well, Amber, thank you so much I appreciate your time and all your wisdom. You're such a valuable member of our group and our community. If somebody wanted to know anything more from you, or is there any way that you would like for them to get a hold of you, any contact information?
Sure. So my email address is a gray GRAY property PROPERTY LLC @gmail.com. So by all means, send an email and I will reach out. It comes to me personally. So let's talk.
Thank you so much, Amber. I really appreciate your time today, and I know everybody else does too.
Thank you, John.
Thanks again.